All right, so we're just coming up to 9:20 in the morning now here in Paris. We'll move on with some business headlines with Stephen Carroll, our business editor. Hi there, Stephen.
Hi, Catherine.
You're starting us off in the United States. Now, this is a very interesting story. A Chinese telecoms company has been fined after it broke sanctions on North Korea and also on Iran.
ZTE was handed a penalty of $1.2 billion for selling telecoms equipment using US-made parts to Tehran and Pyongyang. The fine was much higher than had been expected, although $300 million of it has been suspended. Legal experts saying the amount was increased because court documents suggested ZTE was trying to obstruct the investigation. Let's listen to the US Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross.
The results of this investigation and this unprecedented penalty reflects ZTE's premeditated, egregious scheme to evade U.S. law. ZTE's most senior managers lied to, obstructed, and misled investigators for years.
That news is having an impact on ZTE's shares and trading in Asia. They were up about 6% in Hong Kong. Investors obviously relieved the matter's been sorted. Here's the picture across the Asian markets. The Nikkei in Tokyo finishing the day down 0.5%. Gains, though, on the Hang Seng in Hong Kong and the Kospi in Seoul. In Europe, shares opening down. Paris and Frankfurt leading the falls in trading in Europe. You can see the CAC 40 in Paris are down by 0.4%. The biggest faller in Paris is the energy company EDF. Their shares are down 8% after the state sold some 231 million shares in the company.
All right, moving on, but staying in Europe, the British Finance Minister is presenting his budget later on. Of course, everything we talk about to do with Britain seems to be related to Brexit at the moment.
And this is no exception. We're being told it's going to be a no thrills affair, I should say, from Philip Hammond as he tries to shift the important financial announcements to the autumn. We'll nonetheless be watching for any elements of the UK government's spending plans for the economy after it leaves the European Union. The issue of Brexit, a big concern too for the motor industry, though, and that's a topic that many car makers have been discussing at the Geneva Motor Show, as Clément Bonnereau now reports.
Uncertainty running high at this year's Geneva Motor Show as Britain considers its future outside the EU. Major car companies warn of the potential impact of tariffs on the industry.
Well, we have about 15,000 employees in the UK, and as you say, about half of them are making engines that we ship to Europe, install in vehicles, and then some of them we re-import. So any kind of tariff for us and the whole industry would be a huge headwind. And also for customers, you know, the prices would be much higher.
BMW has already announced it could move production of electric Minis to Germany in the event of a hard Brexit. That is, if Britain fails to strike a post-Brexit trade deal with the EU, which would see car makers being slapped with tariffs of up to 10%. Some companies are more optimistic, including the PSA Group, which has just bought British brand Vauxhall from General Motors.
The question would be, if it's an hard Brexit, it's better to source from inside than from outside. In that case, then the manufacturing footprint that Opel, Vauxhall have in the UK is a strategic opportunity. If it's not a hard Brexit, then everybody will be happy and the markets will be better and everybody will enjoy.
Britain is the second largest car manufacturer in Europe, with 70 car models currently produced in the UK. The sector employs over 170,000 people.
Just time for one final story from you, Stephen. Just in time for Women's Day, there's a new arrival on Wall Street.
A financial firm has installed a statue of a girl facing the famous bronze bull in Lower Manhattan. State Street Global Advisor says it chose the artwork to call attention to the lack of gender balance on company boards, as well as the gender pay gap. The bronze girl statue by artist Kristen Visbal was put up as guerrilla art, but the company had discussed it with the City of New York and it will be allowed to stay, at least temporarily. The bull was actually guerrilla art as well when it was first installed, but was given permission. It was installed originally outside the Stock Exchange, was given permission to be installed there in Lower Manhattan.
Oh, once it's there, why bother taking it away? She's quite nice, isn't she? Thanks very much, Stephen Carroll, for that roundup of the business news.